Welcome to the Creator Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Steven Jensen, as always, with Jeremy Lambert, and today we have the 2023 Scenic City Rumble winner. We have Bobby Flaco. Bobby, thank you for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Ooh, what's up, guys? Feeling good?
Yeah, doing good. And I know you're doing good. Big weekend just happened for you. As I just mentioned, you won the SCI Rumble. You've punched your ticket to the Scenic City Invitational Tournament, a very prestigious tournament, especially here in the Southeast. I'm from Atlanta. That's which we're going to talk about. I'm very aware of your work, through action wrestling and over the years in this scene. But yeah, just right off the top, man, how's it feel to be the Rumble winner?
Man, it feels really fucking cool. It when you first come up, you try to winning's cool, but I'm a smaller guy, so winning is kind of a thing that you try not to get excited about winning. I don't know if that makes sense or whatever, but it really turned out that I really enjoyed having people have a reason to be excited for me. You feel me? That was just cool, and I definitely felt that when I won that thing, people really wanted me to win it, and it was cool to kind of realize it for the first time. You have a connection or whatever, but when people are happy that something happens for you and genuinely happy when you get a big opportunity like that, and you get an opportunity to let them feel good, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. I enjoyed it.
I want to ask about after you won, you're surrounded by the crowd, and they're going with you here. And what was that like? That was an awesome moment.
It was sick. I was really trying to take it in because I really think I struggled to take in those big moments, especially in the ring and in that type of situation. And I was tired, so I sat down. And then when they crowded around me or whatever, it was just, man, it was cool. It was definitely the highlight. After the match, it was definitely the moment there was definitely the highlight of it for me. And everybody says that shit's it's about the moments, but not for real. That was cool. That was definitely badass. To feel that connection with them was sick, and I'm glad I was able to do that for sure.
Yeah, well, I expected the big reaction because you've really made a name for yourself for the last handful of years, especially in the Southeast, and you're one of, if not the most over guys, in action wrestling consistently, which I think is a real testament, honestly, because that's a great crowd, and I love their shows. I think they have a lot of great talent, a really top tier indie in my opinion, and they work so closely with SCI and with SUP and kind of all the surrounding brother and sister kind of promotions. So is it one of those things where have you been feeling the momentum really building, and you kind of feel you're really kind of peaking right now in certain ways?
I definitely think I'm reaping the benefits of work right now. I don't know. Peak's kind of a strong word that I try to stay away from. I think I'm a long ways away from that, to be perfectly honest with you. Especially honestly, in the ring. There's a lot of guys that are a lot better than me in the ring, but I just think things are kind of coming together, with the character shit, with the motocross stuff. I think that's doing huge for me. I just think that, and I'm glad it's coming now when I'm a little bit more solid, now that I don't have to rely on it, I don't have to be just a dirt bike guy. I can have hard work's just starting to pay off a little bit, I guess, you know what I mean, for lack of a better term. And it's cool to see it for sure.
Yeah, that's really more so, I guess, really what I was meaning to ask. I guess I really didn't mean to ask if you felt as if you were peaking, but I guess really more so if things were really coming together right now, because it really does feel that way, especially because and I'm gonna get Jeremy get some questions in, but I know, Jeremy, you go ahead. I got plenty of stuff I want to get to. So.
Well, I was going to ask, you mentioned the motocross. I'm not going to wait on that. I want to know the motocross background and everything, because I'm going to throw a name out there. I was a big motocross fan growing up. Jeremy McGrath, that was my guy. And that's what I got into it. And I didn't keep up with it a lot, but I'd watch him on the X Games and everything. So what got you started in motocross?
Man, I actually, a friend of my dad's got me started in motocross. I started racing when I was racing dirt bikes at 4 years old. When I was 4, I started, but I ended at 8. So, it's just it's an expensive sport, and it's a lot to ask of a family. But that's why I'm just dicking around with them now. But I mean, I was into them all, man. Jeremy McGrath was the GOAT when I was coming up, but right when I was really getting into it, like it seems like we're talking about wrestling now. Right when I was really getting into it was when Ricky Carmichael was coming around.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Ricky Carmichael.
I do.
Yeah. He was like the definite GOAT now. And that was that era. And then it was like Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart and Chad Reed, which fuck man, I could talk about that little era of motocross forever. It was like epic. It was like epic, man. And dude, people talk about that era and like they make up a good point. I think we could apply to wrestling. Those and that little like when you got those 3 peak motocross racers, they're making fucking millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they're into each other's characters and like they fucking kind of hate each other in like a lot of way. But the point is like the money. Nobody gives a fuck about motocross anymore because people don't make money. And like I think that's something that could be applied to like wrestling in like a little bit of a way. I don't know. I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. But yeah, like the Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, like that was the era for sure.
I don't know much about motocross, but I definitely remember Ricky Carmichael because I remember I remember my friend had a birthday party. We went and saw that at the Georgia Dome like a long time ago, and it was awesome. Like I'll never forget that. And I remember Ricky Carmichael was like the main guy.
Oh, dude, you should fucking go to. I think they do it at Atlanta Motor Speedway now. I'm gonna try to go this year. I can't remember when it is, but it's in Atlanta this year, or it's in Atlanta every year. And I think they got a couple of dates, and I'm gonna try to go to one for sure. Supercross is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
I remember watching a lot of Step Up at the X Games. I love that competition. Okay. And then that was McGrath. I would watch him. And then they added all the events to everything, all the different like races and stuff. And then they of course did Best Trick, and Travis Pastrana would do some crazy stuff. But yes, during that time I was into it. Ricky Carmichael, definitely a name that I remember because I think he won like the first, like when they added racing to the X Games, like Carmichael would win that. So yeah, I definitely remember that era. But talk to me more about like comparing it to wrestling. So what would you say is like kind of the peak wrestling for you as like peak? If peak motocross is the Ricky Carmichael era, like what is sort of peak wrestling? Like, hey, this is when like it was at its most popular. Everybody was making that money, and everybody was like really hooked into it.
That's tough because I want to say like that same era of wrestling, but that's because I was a kid and like. That's how everybody feels. Does that like make sense? Because you think whatever, like, because it's like the 2007, 8, 9 or whatever, like maybe a little bit earlier, 2, 3, 4, like that feels like it for me. But that's also when I was like a kid and watching it. It feels like it's big right now. Like I don't know, that might not be what everybody thinks right now, but I think that just everything is huger right now. You know what I mean? But for me, like I said, it's a tough one because like that like peak to me in my definition, like personally, is that same era with like the Rey Mysterio, the JBL, the Eddie, the John Cena, that type of stuff. But it feels a little personal. I'm not gonna lie, it feels a little personal.
I think for people like us growing up, I think I can speak for Jensen here. We grew up like Attitude Era, like felt like peak Austin Rock and everything. It's like, oh, it's never gonna get bigger than this. But I think in some ways, like you're right, like nowadays it does feel bigger in just the overall scope of it. And now we have 2 major companies again, and social media is such a big thing to where it feels like so many people are talking about it, even though television ratings are what they are and everything, and they might be down compared to the Attitude Era stuff. But yeah, I would imagine like whenever you're growing up, that's when it feels like the absolute biggest, and through nostalgia eyes, like everything feels like the biggest at that time when you're growing up. But is it, so that's when you got into wrestling, like the JBL, the Rey Mysterio, like who was the Cena, like who was the guy that like you saw and you're like, okay, I'm into this. I dig this.
I like started going back to like WWE.com when it was like that Rey and JBL time when I could watch those highlights. Cause like my dad would watch it all the time, or not all the time. I would watch it sometimes with my dad, like on Monday, but my mom didn't have TV. So I would just go on WWE.com, and like, that is the era. Specifically, I remember just watching JBL and Rey highlights, and then that was like the Eddie and like the Booker T and like that type of just that era for sure.
It's funny that you got in during the JBL era because so many people, while that was happening, like kind of like my era fan, which is just a little bit older than like we're talking probably like I got into it kind of like mid 90s, so we went through the Attitude Era, all that stuff. And then a lot of people like despise the JBL title run. Like of my generation, we thought that he was like the worst champion. We're not going to watch the show anymore. But honestly, like in hindsight, and you could say that about a lot of the ruthless aggression era type stuff. In hindsight, I think looking back, like that stuff was actually a lot better than how I felt about it. And it was only because I was coming off of thinking that it couldn't get any bigger than like Goldberg and The Rock and Hollywood Hogan and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think everything we're talking about like is totally true.
Yeah, that perspective for sure. You look back and you're like, I was a little younger, so I like really hated JBL. You know what I mean? But yes, that perspective.
I'm gonna switch gears, to getting back to more current wrestling in your career a little bit. You wrestled in 205 Live in part of the ThunderDome era. What was that experience like?
The infamous ThunderDome. It was cool. It just it came from just a little series of my career where I was getting a lot of extra work or whatever. And I just dropped a little hint that I'd be in town a little longer. I never lived in Florida, but I was there for a long time. And I told the dude I'd be around for a little longer. And it just came up, they needed somebody for 205 Live. They needed 3 people for 205 Live. And I was able to do it. Yeah, it was sick. I learned a lot. I wasn't near, I had no business being there, you know what I mean? But it was cool. I got to learn a lot. I got to take in a lot. The ThunderDome is wild, and it's cool. I can know not a lot of people can say that. You know, they got to work in the ThunderDome, so that was cool.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the stuff? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna ask some of the stuff that you learned. You mentioned you learned a lot in like a short time there. Some of the stuff you can talk about.
Oh man, man, I got like a crazy lesson in selling there. I was just doing like. That's the reason I said it out loud, because it was huge for me. Like, and I'm trying to like figure out a way to put it. Like, I was just making it too hard. Like, just doing like the weird face thing, and like I was knocked out all the time, and like, you know what I mean? Like weird flipping around and doing weird shit with my body when you can just like touch your whatever hurts and like feel like have a good face on you and like look into somebody's eyes and be like, dude, this shit fucking hurts. You know what I mean? And I just was able to get that lesson at a bigger stage there. So it was cool to sink it in. You know what I mean?
Was there anyone in particular that you want to like shout out that like, people would know that maybe gave you some advice?
Honestly, it was people who watched it and who watched me after that little period. And I don't want to talk about who was in like the backstage or whatever.
That's fine.
Somebody who said it, a guy who said it again, and my dumbass, I got to hear everything fucking twice. The person who said it the second time was Leon Ruff, and that's my fucking guy. And I think I've switched a little gear since then as well. That wasn't like directly after 205 Live, but I was like still doing that same shit. And like when two people like say something to you, you know what I mean? Like it really clicks.
The 205 Live, or ThunderDome era, they weren't like bringing in a ton of people during that either, like a ton of extra, because of obviously the COVID stuff. So to be on during that, what was it like wrestling just in the ThunderDome in front of the screens? There's no crowd there or anything.
Dude, it was different. It was during COVID, so it was better than fucking nothing. You know what I mean? It was like it was during the time when I was wrestling, we were in front of no people sometimes, so it was better. It was different. It was like, you know what I mean? A lot of that shit, but it was definitely better than nothing. I kind of appreciated it a little bit now that I think about it.
Is there anybody that you've shared the ring with, and maybe it was the 205 Live experience of when you wrestled them and just something clicked maybe in your head of like, okay, like I'm here, I belong. And you mentioned that, you haven't peaked yet or anything, but it just clicked of like, hey, I'm good at this and I can see myself doing this for just a very long time.
I think that there's a lot of clicking in my head moments for sure. Wrestling Kurt Stallion at Action one was a long time ago. And it wasn't one of like that, like it's less validation and more like, well, kind of validation. Like for me, learning a lesson is a good validation, like learning by doing, you know what I mean? It's not that I did so good, but like I did do good and I did do the right thing. So by doing that, I fucking like learned that. Is that weird? Like, does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, you talk to people afterwards and stuff like that. But so I guess you're right. It was really validating in a way, but also like you realize the good and the bad you're doing. You know, it's just as good to know the good things you're doing as the bad, for sure.
Someone I definitely wanted to ask you about that you're closely linked to is is Brogan Finlay. Y'all obviously Airbnb. You know, kind of what are your thoughts on Brogan? I just kind of want, because he's a name that I feel like is like still really under the radar, but obviously he's the son of Fit Finlay, and you know, it's like it's one of those things where like I feel like he has a bright future, and I kind of saw like I feel like I might have even seen his first match like ever. I feel like I was watching him in like Action Wrestling when he had like no matches. So if you want to talk a little bit about Brogan, just to kind of let people know kind of your team and your relationship with him.
Dude, I guess I talked about selling already, so it's whatever. But not me and I grew up with the Finlay family. I went to we all went to the same high school, and I'm actually David's age. I'm the same age as David, but he was like, yeah, I'm the same age as David. So me and Brogan go back fucking like more than 10 years. Way more than 10 years, you know what I mean? So it's all really super duper duper surreal. And I think talking about those lessons, like I've really gotten a lot of those good lessons recently working with Brogan, and not only working with Brogan, but being around to hear how Brogan's family feels about the match. I don't want to go, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to, you know what I mean? Being around to hear the critiques from that side of the family has been tremendous for myself, and I think for Brogan. So that's like it's less matches and more just like little eras of my career. That's definitely like a little, when I started teaming with Brogan and like having matches and programs with Brogan is really a huge click for me, you know, because you know, you can say what you want about him. He's a fucking kid, so give him a break, first of all, you know what I mean? And also he's just got, you know, there's just an undeniable like knowledge that him and his family have, and like he's you know, he's getting so good in the ring right now, you know what I mean? And it's only up for Brogan, for sure, dude. It's only up for Brogan, and I really I'm appreciative of the relationship I have with their family. David and I were on the high school wrestling team together, and so we, like, his family was always there bringing snacks and all that shit. So yeah, it's even just interesting, like that we all ended up wrestling, you know what I mean? When I was a kid, I thought you had to be like David and Brogan to wrestle, you know what I mean? But then I saw like training schools and stuff. So, and like we've always been friends, you know what I mean? It's been an interesting development and a cool relationship, for sure.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, speaking of training, you're trained by AR Fox, who's, you know, one of the best as well, of course. Like, how did like that come together? And also, I mean, having that opportunity of like having the Finlays around, I mean, that's what opportunities that you have there that most people just would never have access to.
Oh, dude, I should be way farther, right?
No. This is a testament to how good you are so fast. So
I'm so fucking lucky, dude. And I'm so lucky with Fox too, because like I didn't do like my research or nothing like that. I had a friend, you've seen him at Action Garuda. He's from Noonan too. Noonan, Georgia is stacked with wrestlers, bro. They both the Finlays, me, King Garuda, Damian Turner from Action and TWE too. He's friends with them. Well, I was saying, yeah, I was just doing whatever, fucking living life, and Garuda starts training at the WWA 4. And I eventually just go up there and start checking into it and checking it out, and eventually join and start training. I loved Fox's vibe. I loved the atmosphere. It was in a fucking strip club. It was like the back of a strip club that won the WWA 4 back in the day on Fulton Industrial. Like, it's a crazy little neighborhood. I loved it, and I'm lucky that. Like I said, I didn't do my research, so I'm lucky that Fox turned out to be one of the best in the world, for real. He's the guy, and I'm super honored to have the relationship that I have with Fox, and it's helped me a lot.
How does it feel seeing the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? He's been around a long time, you know, and a lot of people knew him through Lucha Underground, but like kind of the I don't know if the respect's the right word because the respect's always been there, but I guess he has a lot of eyes and a lot of people are talking about he's on AEW now. Like, how does it feel to see all that?
Dude, it feels good, man. It feels good to just feel him. Oh, man. I just love Fox so much, bro. It feels good to be able to know that he's good, man. I mean, he's always the school's been there always, and to just know that like he's made it. You know what I mean? Like nobody puts more into this shit than fucking Fox. Like nobody, and he puts everything into the school and everything into his matches. And to have been able to do the Evolve tours with him and like. And then to see him now, bro, it's just amazing. And like he's he's enjoying the fuck out of it, and that's like the best part. You know, it's like a Cinderella shit. You know, you couldn't be happier for fucking Fox, man. I'm super happy.
I mean, you mentioned jokingly, I think, like you should be further along. Everything. I think AR Fox is a testament of like there's no quick journey to a lot of this stuff because AR Fox should have been on television years ago. And he finally just made it this year. And like, it is great to see all that pay off for him. So please do not be hard on yourself of like, I should be further along. I hope that was an actual joke.
Nah, I'm just fucking around. Dude, nah. And it's inspirational too. It's like, it's almost like seeing Fox Eve right now just goes back to the way it fucking used to be. Like you got to put a lot of fucking work in and you got to be for real one of the best if you want to be treated like Fox is being treated right now. You know what I mean? And I think it just took from the stories. Like I know, like it only took like that from one for people telling Khan about Fox, but then once they figured out who he is and what he's capable of, and he's friends with, bro, everybody in that bitch, everybody in that shit, and that has a huge amount of respect for him. And as soon as he figured that out, like he was given that spot that he deserved. And I guess that what I'm trying to say is like, it's good to see that when you do put that work in and you do become that person, that reward does happen for somebody like Fox, and it's just fucking sick to see.
Well, with the Scenic City tournament coming up, like who do you have your eye on? Of like, I want to get in the ring with this guy and see what they're about.
I guess I'll have to see who's coming, right?
Well, call somebody out right now, and maybe it'll lead to them being there.
We'll get in the year of Scott Hensley, and we'll start telling people who won the tournament, and we'll just get this whole thing put together. No, but I mean, I know you've mixed it up with a lot of the people that I'm expecting to be there. But I mean, they always bring in surprises as well. So yeah, I'm interested to know who you'd like to wrestle in that thing.
Oh man, dude, I don't know. I don't know.
We can manifest these things. I'm big into manifestation. We can manifest this.
Oh, dude, if there's one thing I like less than putting myself over, it's fucking manifesting things, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, brought up the wrong thing. Oh, shit. My bad.
I love that. That's so funny.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to call nobody out, bro, but I appreciate the spirit of what you're asking for sure. I don't know, man. It'll be a lot of it. I'm super fucking excited, and I know they always bring the best of the best. Like if you look at all the tournaments from the years past, like you look at Garcia, Myron Reed, they're just always bringing in for real the best of the best. And that's my favorite thing about that whole little circle is not only do they bring like, at least an attempt at a quality production, like they really just fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody making no money at this shit. And or at least, you know what I mean? I don't want to say it like that, but nobody's getting rich off of this shit. And they really just care about, like, us. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see who they're going to bring for sure. And I'm sure they're going to bring somebody at a high level that we can all learn from. I hope so. And I hope I get to wrestle somebody I can fucking learn from. That's what I want to say, Scott Hensley. Yeah. Give me somebody I can learn a big-ass lesson from.
Dude, you never know, man. They bring in so many people. Like you said, you got like the Daniel Garcias of the world. But I mean, one year they brought in Nick Gage, wrestled in a high school gym there. I mean, it was nuts. So anyone could show up at that thing. Speaking of people who could probably show up, someone who shows up at all the action shows, and someone who showed up on our show at least 4 times now. I think 4 times. I want your opinion on this guy. One of the action wrestling commentators, Jumpin' Johnny Mosley, is a regular here on this show. Give a shout out to Mose here on the show, if you would, Flaco.
Oh, dude, Mose knows he's my fucking guy, man. I fucking love Mose. I appreciate what he brings to the table.
Yeah. How important is it to have guys like Mose and Dylan and those kind of guys like on commentary, helping kind of tell y'all stories?
It's vastly important. It's so important. Damn, I'm real spoiled at the moment with a lot of like good commentary and stuff like that. But but once you like, everybody's heard it bad, and great commentary is even better from guys like Dylan and Dylan and Mose too. You know what I mean? And it's even better when you get to know them. It's even better when you get to know them, and you can feel the emotion. They really get into what's happening for you. You know, Dylan's good at getting up, really good at telling the story they're trying to tell over however long the broadcast is. You know, I just appreciate the fuck out of them both. They're good dudes for sure.
Has Mose ever taken you to Sonic?
Nah, I haven't had the pleasure.
Okay, that's a deep cut on our show. Yeah,
that is. It's very. Have you been to Sonic? Like, what's your favorite Sonic order?
You know, I think they got they got tots, right?
Yeah, they do. They got good tots.
I normally get something toddy over there.
Yeah,
something they got weird shit like corn dogs and stuff. I'll get something like that. I'm probably not gonna try to get a big old meal at Sonic, but
yeah. Mose told a story about getting ice cream with Nick Gage at Sonic one time, and it's just it's very, very random. That's two random Nick Gage stories back to back that had nothing to do with this, but yeah, man, I've got all these dream matches in mind, but I feel like I've seen you wrestle so many of the guys already. Another one of the guys that's come on a few times, Cole Radrick, you wrestled him recently on GCW Settlement Series. What's it been like to see? You got like a whole group of y'all that I feel like have just over the last like 5 years or so have just like come up together from all over these different parts of the world. And I just feel like this whole kind of new wave is happening because people are always going to be getting signed. And there's always going to be spots opening. So I see guys like you, I see guys like Cole, and a lot of the people we're talking about, guys like Eric Royal, who you eliminated last in the SCI Rumble. Like, how's it feel to just be a part of this whole kind of just next wave?
It's great, man. I'm super fortunate. That's a match that Cole asked for at GCW, so I was very honored to have that. And we're gonna like run it back again. And he not only did he ask for that shit, it was a show where it was after JCW. Yeah, we had both wrestled on JCW right before that.
Yeah.
And he was in like a lucha fucking double death trying 9 tag team something. He was in some shit and he comes limping back like, all right, what do you want to do, brother? Like, oh, dude, I just can't I don't even know how to say like how much that means to me, you know what I mean? And I know we're gonna do it again, and I'm super duper looking forward to it. That's a good dude for sure.
You should do it at the next SpongeBob tournament that I'm going to bully Cole Radrick into running, the Smitty Worgen Jager Hand Manson tournament part 2 that he's told me he's going to run in Indiana. So bully him into doing that if you don't mind. Jensen, you got to get in on this as well. We're going to get Bobby booked, and we're going to get this SpongeBob tournament part 2. I want to switch gears from pro wrestling for a second. Besides motocross, like what do you like to do in your downtime?
I've fucking got real into traveling recently. I've gotten my life to where I can like work or wrestle and go towards like the next travel. So I'm super excited about all that shit.
I saw the Costa Rica vlog. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I went and I took a week in Costa Rica. I've done like Peru and Chile. I wrestled in Chile before, but I did Costa Rica just because I got a friend out there. I don't know if you guys watched the end of Evolve, there's a referee called Kai Douglas who we became homies with, and he goes to Costa Rica a lot. And I eventually just got a ticket and fucking went with him too. And I've been trying to space the vlogs out a little bit. We spent like a week there. So I just dropped the one about we rented motorcycles and like went to Panama or to the Panama border and shit like that. We got sprayed by crop dust planes, like the fucking like like spraying pesticide on the bananas and shit. We was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh no!
I call it
3 of us just driving motorcycles, just yellow shit all over our goggles and shit. It was wild, bro.
They got you goggles on. I feel like that would sting if that actually like got into eyes or anything.
Yeah, and it was more like a visor too, but it helped a lot for sure.
Yeah.
It didn't get all over my eyes.
Well, what's been
cool.
like your favorite place to travel so far? 2-part question. And then where's a place that like you really want to go to and you got to make sure, all right, I've got to go here before, in this life.
I got so many places I want to go to. I really enjoyed Peru, and then I really enjoyed Chile. Peru for like a travel thing, and shoot, man, fuck, Costa Rica was so cool too, though, man. I could for real live in Costa Rica. It's it's not like Honduras. It's not like El Salvador. There's like no military. It's a very different and interesting culture. I mean, there's bad shit. I got into some fucking shit, but there's just like oh man, pura vida, man. That's what they call it, pura vida. There's just a crazy culture to where like, bro, I did volunteer day, and like at 3:30, that was it. We were done. We were going to the beach. They were like, I was like, what about these paintbrushes? There's like, leave them the fuck there. Leave those paintbrushes there, and we're out. It's 3:30, pura vida. Like, they're nobody's in a hurry. Like, properties affordable, and they got like encouraging things for foreigners to be there. And it's not like a cartel dangerous country. I don't know what the fuck they got figured out. They got something figured out because they still got to go through there. But I don't know what's happening. But
I visited before. It's beautiful out there.
Oh, you've been to Costa Rica?
I've been once. Yeah, I mean, I drank way too many liquid marijuanas at the resort, and I don't remember a ton of it. But I mean, it was.
Did you go to Puerto Viejo?
I honestly can't remember. That's like
was it like in the Caribbean?
I think so.
Was it resorty, but like
yeah,
not like Hilton-y, but not like Hilton and all that shit? It was like fucking Bullfrog or whatever, like type shit.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's where I was staying, but we had an Airbnb in the jungle, like how it's like on the mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, we was up in the mountain a couple miles, and we were fucking staying up there.
That's awesome, man. We did a little like ATV tour around, like the area and stuff. Very, very cool. Yeah, man. That I haven't been to too many places because I'm not good on airplanes, and Jeremy knows that as well. But like, so I got to kind of try to keep it local the best I can, or do miles in the car. But yeah, man, that's cool. Costa Rica. Did you say Costa Rica or Puerto Rico? I've been to both. Costa Rica. I'm sorry. Yeah. I've been to Puerto Rico as well. Have you been to Puerto Rico?
When I was like in high school, yeah, I went to Puerto Rico. I definitely got to go back soon. That's a real like doable one too.
Yeah, Jamaica is another one. That's like the only other place that I've been to that but it was like once again it was a resort. You unfortunately have to drive through a lot of areas where it's like, oh damn, like what's going on here? And then like you get to like the really nice resort, which is like really confusing. It really confused me as a kid being there. But I mean, I do remember it being beautiful at the resort. But I don't know if that's like, is that some like bucket list, other bucket list places that you've got?
Man, I'm still gonna go to Bolivia. I don't know if I'm gonna go this year. Bolivia is a wild, wild country. My friends are going this year. Zinchi is going, and he's got some other dudes going with him. But I'm putting a South America trip together too this year, but I just can't swing Bolivia this time. But it's like a buck wild country. Like you gotta stay at like a couple of days, maybe a week to get the altitude right before you wrestle. Like there's just llamas everywhere. Like you put your llama in a taxi. Like this shit's fucking crazy out there. And it's where all the coke's at. It's like if you really look up where it's at, it's like Bolivia, Colombia, then Peru. But yeah, there's a lot of wild shit going on in Colombia, and it's like, and then in Bolivia, and it's like very like, I mean, Peru's got the mountains and the rainforest too, but like Bolivia is just wild. It's all over the place. I wanted that challenge for sure. I wanted that big challenge before I go somewhere crazy. Like I want to go everywhere. Like I'm gonna go to India, South Asia, all that shit. But I think if I can handle Bolivia, then I can handle some other spots too.
It's very adventurous to just go out there, and you don't know what kind of trouble you could get into out there. So I commend you for checking these places out. I was gonna ask, like, when you go out there, like, do you always look to wrestle out there, or is it just kind of go out there and just explore, learn new things?
In South America, I'm mostly wrestling. And, it's a mixture of both. I'm always looking at Kayak, which is like one of those travel apps. And like, if I see a ticket that, I can't refuse, like you might as well take it, But nah, I do try to do it with wrestling a lot, but sometimes not. Sometimes just go and be there. But like in some places there's not a lot. Like this year in our South America thing is starting in May, and we're starting in. They're going to Ecuador. I'm not going to Ecuador. I can't. I got 2 minutes. Like I just don't have time. But then it's Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, and then they're going to Bolivia. I can't make it to Bolivia, but that's all going to have wrestling in it. So I'm super excited about that. There's a shit ton of wrestling in Chile. That's where most of it's going to be. There's like 1 weekend in Bolivia. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 weekend in Argentina, and like 1 weekend in Colombia. But there's a shit ton in Chile. There's a culture there. I'm sure y'all know some guys from Chile. So there's good girls from Chile too.
What's the like craziest venue you've wrestled at, whether it is in a different country or in America?
Huh. Dude, some of the first ones were crazy. Like some of those like antique mall barn type shits. Done some barn type stuff. It's definitely been some fancy ones. I really like the Orpheum in Tampa. The Orpheum's cool. I don't know. All the venues in Chile. The venue I was at in Chile was pretty cool for Chile Lucha Libre. It's like half house. It's like you like go open up and it's like, almost sheet metal looking ish little arena where they're selling little fucking stuff on the grill, and then like beyond that it's like there's just somebody's house kind of just smushed in there to the left right there. So if you keep going down the hall, like down the right there's a bathroom, and it's just like interesting. The way people make use of space is cool. Like I noticed in other places too, like some of the Airbnbs you stay at are just like, I mean, I guess they're compared to, you think about studio apartments here, I guess it's like the same shit. But the way people make use of space out there is wild too.
Speaking of, cool venues, I saw you live at Center Stage in Atlanta at GCW Astronaut. What was that experience like?
Man, you saw which one, the Scramble or the other one?
Scramble. Well, I've been to both. The GCW Center Stage shows. I was thinking of the one with like you and Rico.
Man.
Oh no, so that was a tag team match, wasn't it? I'm thinking of a tag team match. Was it?
Yeah, me and Rico. I'm sorry. We did have. There was like a tag team match the first time, but then we had a Scramble.
That's right. I'm getting the two mixed together, but yes, I saw both. But what was it like? Not just working for GCW, but also at Center Stage in Atlanta.
That shit's huge, bro. I used to go. I went and saw MGK there one time back in the day at Center Stage. So that, and not, and my friends rap too, and they would rap at the smaller venue in Center Stage, but we was at fucking Center Stage. That shit was cool, and that match, man, that shit, bro. It just came together for us, dude, and those are my fucking home. Like I don't think I could pick 6 guys I'd rather have a Scramble with. Like,
yeah,
for real.
It was you, Rico, Brogan, Hunter Drake, Sean Campbell, and Teriyaki. That was the match. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to all those guys. They all got something super special and unique, for sure. For sure. When I found out I was gonna win the Rumble, I was like, all right, I gotta watch Rico because he wins matches really good. He loves it when he wins matches. Like he's good at that. But dude, it was badass, man. And to do the dirt bike shit at Center Stage, bro, it was definitely my favorite match of my life so far, and it was a Scramble. But it was just too much fun. I don't think I've ever felt a vibe like that being in that match, for sure.
It was an awesome match. I hope they bring you back in. They're going to be here next month, Center Stage again. I'm hoping to see you there. And one of the guys that was in that match was Hunter Drake. Did you see he won the Haas tournament this weekend as well?
That's awesome, dude. Drake's the man out there. Drake's the man out there. He's just so easy to work with and so fun to fucking wrestle. I'm glad he got that shit. For sure.
Yeah, he was another one of those guys that was grinding for a while through like New South. I remember his tag team with Tyler Franks, the Talladega Nights and stuff, and like both of them just sort of kind of like you and Brogan, like gone off doing your own things now and stuff, which is really cool to see.
Mm-hmm. No, it's beautiful, man. That's a good group of guys for sure.
Do you have any plans for WrestleMania weekend? Are you heading out to LA to be part of any events there?
Yeah, I got my ticket to go out there. Yeah, at this point, I'm on like, you know, I can be in any building with GCW. So at this point, I'm just gonna pull up on them and see what's up, and see how I can help, and see what's popping. I think I don't think that starts till Thursday. I think I'm gonna go see Violence, go check out Violence and Suffering on that Wednesday show. See what they're talking about. That seems like a really, really good show. But other than that, dude, I don't know. I want to fucking see what LA is about. I've never been to LA. I want to I speak Spanish, obviously. So like, I want to get in. I want to do some of the music out there. There's a lot of corridos out there, and corridos are like cool. It's one of my favorite types of music. So I want to listen to that shit live.
I've been to LA, brief stopover, and just a touristy Walk of Fame type of thing. That's my only LA experience, but it's obviously going to be a big weekend. It's going to be a packed weekend, and even if you don't have anything, there's so many shows. Show up and bring your gear. That's a saying, right? Just always bring your gear.
Oh yeah, you gotta bring it with you. I'm just trying to find some cholos in LA and see what's happening there.
Last one before we get you out of here, Bobby. What's the coolest thing in your room?
We ask everyone, so like if you can go get it for us, even better. But yeah, coolest thing in your room.
Dude, I barely got a bed, dude. I don't know. That's where I live out on the farm, so that's where I like hide my life savings. You know, it's not, hide my pennies. So I guess my little green box is where my weed and my pennies go.
There you go.
Do you have any animals? Do you have any animals on this farm?
Yeah, we got a horse and a couple of dogs.
Nice.
It's it's like 6 or 7 acres. It's like leftover horses because my sister and my grandparents always had horses growing up, and they're like next door. And my sister always rode horses and shit, and she still has a couple that she owns, like on another property, but she like jumps them and trains them and does all that shit. So we got the leftover one right now. One of them just actually died. They were one was super old, but we still got a couple horses left here kicking it with us. They're not like they're here be like their feet aren't fucked up, but you can't ride this one's not, you can't like ride them, so you don't got there's no good over there, and so we let them stay here.
All right, I do have a question. Is that a pinball machine behind you?
Yeah.
Come on now, you have a pinball machine.
Gotta be the coolest thing.
It's my stepmom, but it's a Godzilla pinball machine, and it's broken. It wouldn't be collecting dust if it wasn't fucked up.
Okay,
yeah, it's a Godzilla.
I thought it was. And then
it's quite authentic.
The second part of that, have you talked to Billy Starks about the farm life? Because according to her dad, that is what she wants to do when she retires.
Yeah, they just wrestled each other too. It was recent.
Oh man, she's so good. I really enjoyed working here. But yeah, we'll see if she's about it, dude. I fucking especially out where my sister's at, we'll put her the fuck to work. I don't know if she's ever shoveled shit before. That would be awesome to see if Billy can handle a day on the farm.
Her dad said she wants to live on a farm once it's all said and done for her. So you can get her initiated early here. See if she is about the farm life.
See if she's about it. She reminds me of this. I met this European girl in Costa Rica, and she was like just going to people's farms and just working on fucking people's farms in Costa Rica. And she's from like fucking Iceland or something, or Finland or some shit. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to work on the farm. They have half wild horses, half regular. And I'm like, you're a badass bitch. So if that girl can do that, I think Billy can come to the farm and get it done.
There we go. Hey, look, you got something to talk about next time you see her.
Yeah, for sure.
Bobby, we appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Oh, yeah. I think I got it all dialed in. My Instagram is Bobby_Flaco_4. That's where it's like all wrestling. It's like wrestling and travel stuff. My YouTube is Bobby Flaco 4, and my Twitter is Bobby Flaco 4. There's a couple of old profiles, but if you look for 4 seconds, you'll probably. I don't even think they come up anymore. But yeah, the YouTube, man. If you guys do anything, man, like fuck with that YouTube, because wrestling's great and all, but I think like doing I think that's a good place to put some marbles of my effort in. So if anybody could support the YouTube, Bobby Flaco Ford, it's traveling and wrestling. My most popular videos, I wrestled Allison K one time, and it's got like 100,000 video views, and my travel videos get like 30 views. So we could get those up a little bit.
Guys, all the links are below, so you can in the description of the video click on all the links. Oh yeah, we get the hookup here. We got all the setup. You can click the link below. There you go. Support Bobby. Check out his travel videos. Check out his wrestling videos. Congratulations again on winning the Rumble this past weekend, and look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back here on the Spotlight.